If you want to understand why certain women become deeply invested in a relationship, you need to look beyond surface-level dating advice. There are psychological patterns that influence attraction, attention, curiosity, and emotional investment. But understanding these patterns is not about controlling a woman, manipulating her, or making her submit. Real confidence works differently. It comes from self-respect, emotional control, healthy boundaries, and having a life that does not depend on someone else's approval. In this video, we are breaking down 5 psychological dynamics that can strongly influence attraction. And number 5 may be the most important because it has less to do with what you say and more to do with how you handle yourself when emotions become intense. So forget the games, forget the desperate chasing, and let's get into the psychology. The first dynamic is the fear of losing something valuable. People tend to value things more when they believe those things are meaningful, limited, or difficult to replace. That principle applies to relationships too. When a man has no life outside a woman, constantly seeks her attention, and behaves as if losing her would destroy him, the relationship can become unbalanced. The solution is not to create jealousy. You don't need to talk about other women, post fake pictures, or make someone feel insecure. Instead, build a life that has genuine value. Take care of your health, develop your career, build friendships, pursue goals, learn new skills, become someone who is emotionally fulfilled even when you're alone. When a woman sees that you have purpose and standards, she understands that your relationship with her is a choice, not a desperate need, and that difference matters. Healthy attraction grows when two people choose each other freely. It becomes weaker when one person feels responsible for keeping the other person emotionally alive. The second psychological dynamic is the fear of missing out. Human beings naturally become more interested in opportunities that appear to be moving forward without them. This is one reason constant availability can sometimes reduce curiosity. Imagine a man who spends every waking hour waiting for a message. He cancels his plans whenever she calls. He answers instantly every time, even when he is busy, and slowly makes the relationship the center of his entire life. There is nothing wrong with being responsive or caring. The problem is abandoning yourself. A man with purpose has a different energy. He can enjoy a conversation, put his phone down, and return to his work. He can spend time with someone he cares about and still maintain his own goals. His life continues whether a message arrives or not. That creates something powerful, genuine independence. She may begin wondering what you are doing, what you are building, and where your life is going, not because you are deliberately withholding attention, but because you actually have somewhere to go. That is the healthy version of mystery. You are not playing unavailable. You are simply not abandoning your own life. The third dynamic is validation. In modern dating, attention can be extremely easy to receive. Compliments, likes, messages, and praise can arrive constantly. But attention is not the same thing as meaningful validation. If you praise everything someone does, your compliments eventually lose their meaning. A stronger approach is to become intentional with your approval. Notice character. Notice consistency. Notice kindness. Notice emotional maturity. Notice how someone treats people who cannot give them anything in return. When you compliment those qualities, your words carry more weight because they are specific and sincere. And this works both ways. You should not expect a woman to earn your basic respect. Respect should be the starting point. But deeper admiration can naturally grow when someone demonstrates qualities you genuinely value. Instead of trying to impress her every second, ask yourself a better question. Do I actually admire the person I am dating? That question changes your entire mindset. You stop performing for approval and start evaluating compatibility. The fourth dynamic is curiosity and mystery. The human brain dislikes unanswered questions. When something is incomplete, our attention often returns to it. That is why revealing everything about yourself immediately can sometimes remove the natural process of discovery. But mystery does not mean lying, disappearing, or intentionally confusing someone. Healthy mystery means allowing a relationship to unfold naturally. You don't need to explain every thought the moment you have it. You don't need to report every movement of your day. You don't need to turn every conversation into a complete autobiography. Let someone discover you over time. Have interests she doesn't know everything about. Keep developing. Tell stories when they are relevant. Allow conversations to breathe. The goal is not to make her anxious. The goal is to remain an interesting, complete person who continues to grow. When someone knows there is always more to discover about you, curiosity can keep the connection alive. But now we reach the fifth and most important dynamic: emotional control. This is where many relationships go wrong. A woman becomes distant, cancels plans, gives mixed signals, or says something disrespectful. The man immediately reacts. He sends 10 messages. He demands an explanation. He becomes angry. He starts defending himself. Or he becomes desperate for reassurance. The problem is not the emotion itself. The problem is surrendering control of your behavior to that emotion. Emotional strength means creating space before responding. If someone crosses a boundary, you don't need to punish them with silence. You don't need to disappear to create panic. And you don't need to manipulate their emotions. You can simply communicate clearly. You can say, "I don't feel comfortable with the way this is being handled. If we are going to continue, I need mutual respect." Then watch what happens. If she takes responsibility, listens, and changes the behavior, the relationship can grow. If she repeatedly crosses the same boundary, you have another option: step away. That is real emotional control. Your silence should not be a weapon. Your distance should not be designed to make someone panic. Your boundaries should not be threats. They should be decisions. And this is where the entire idea of high-value behavior becomes much simpler. You don't need psychological tricks to make a woman chase you. You need a life you respect. You need standards you actually follow. You need enough confidence to say no when something violates your values. You need enough emotional discipline to avoid reacting impulsively. And you need enough self-respect to walk away from relationships that repeatedly damage your peace. When you build those qualities, attraction becomes a byproduct rather than a target you desperately chase. The 5 dynamics we covered are simple. First, understand the value of having a meaningful life and genuine independence. Second, maintain your purpose instead of making another person the center of your world. Third, make your validation intentional and sincere, rather than giving empty compliments. Fourth, allow curiosity to develop naturally instead of revealing everything immediately. And fifth, master your emotional responses and communicate your boundaries clearly. None of these principles require manipulation. In fact, the strongest version of masculine confidence is the opposite of manipulation. It gives both people freedom. You are not trying to control her emotions. You are controlling your own behavior. You are not trying to make her afraid of losing you. You are becoming someone who knows his own value. You are not withholding affection to create anxiety. You are giving affection because you genuinely choose to. And you are not demanding respect through intimidation. You are willing to leave situations where respect does not exist. That is the mindset that creates healthier attraction. So ask yourself today, are you chasing validation, or are you building a life that naturally creates confidence? Because when your purpose is strong, your boundaries are clear, and your emotions are under control, you no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. You simply live it. If you found this breakdown useful, subscribe for more psychology, relationship dynamics, and practical lessons on confidence and emotional intelligence. And tell me in the comments, which of these 5 principles do you think makes the biggest difference in modern relationships? Stay grounded, protect your peace, keep building your life. And remember, the goal isn't to control someone else's mind. The goal is to become so secure in your own mind that you never have to.